This is John Bailey, the epic voice of Honest Trailers, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. It's a Fangirls podcast with five-ish people. The tangents and squee will continue. Squee.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode 369 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. The world as we know it is coming undone. Things that seem unimaginable today will seem inevitable tomorrow. Should you agree to do what I ask, you'll have to trust me, even when every instinct tells you not to. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like we do for the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. I've been eating grapes.
Oh.
That are apparently are carbonated, and I wasn't aware. Anyway. Oh my goodness, it's been crazy.
Yes.
Crazy things happening all over the place. So stay tuned to the spot.
How's that for a tease?
Rachel's been busy.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
But let's get on to the news. First up in convention news, Gen Con, the event catalog is going to go live on the website May 1st. So as we're recording this coming Sunday, which is crazy enough to think that's
I was about to say.
Cue the NSYNC earworm. And all by the end of the week, Facebook and Twitter and all the things, it's going to be nothing but Justin Timberlake's face all over the place.
Yes.
So once the catalog goes live, you can start building your wish list, which is good if there's things that you want to get into, because there is stuff that does sell out rather quickly. So if you're like, I really, 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 really want to make sure I play Settlers of Catan, yeah, might want to get in there and build your wish list so that when the event registration goes live on May 15th at noon Eastern time, that's when you can actually start registering for events. So, but if you've already built your wish list, as soon as registration opens, you can hit purchase, and unless somebody clicks a button a little faster than you, it'll just go through your wish list, because you prioritize them. You put them in numerical order from high priority to lower priority, and if it's available, boom, there's you got your ticket. So building that wish list is very important if you want.
Well, at least they make it easy and you're not just trying to hunt and peck.
That is true. That is very, very true. And they've also released the list of vendors who are going to be there for the vendor hall, which is just a list. They don't have a floor map of who's going to be located where yet. But then they also have the list of all of the artists and authors that are going to be part of the art show and Authors Avenue. So you can go check out those. Although I'm going to make a suggestion to Gen Con, when they release those lists, if the person's got a website or something, they should really put a link instead of it just being a list of names. Because I've been Googling some of these people to see, because I don't necessarily know authors, but I may recognize like the book cover.
Yeah. You probably would.
Yeah. But when you're Googling and they're like, some people have the same name as other people,
That is
So
true.
it would be nice if they hyperlinked those. If the person's got a website, which I'm assuming is part of the vendor paperwork, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah,
Anyway.
website.
Usually
like
it
an
is.
Amazon thing.
Yeah.
Usually it is. I mean, Jared hasn't done any conventions yet. Whenever there's like, author sales or like online events like we've been doing a lot of lately, they're like, do you have a website? And he doesn't, other than his Amazon page, but even that link is useful. So
there you go, Gen Con. Take that suggestion and run with it.
A nickel's worth of free advice.
Yep. So there is that. And then in the world of Big Finish, dun dun dun, as if we didn't have enough to listen to already.
Right. I
We
think
are
that's
now
happy sounds my
getting-
pocketbook is making, but
Yeah.
not quite sure.
We hear this screaming going, why? That is all of our bank accounts.
Yep.
At the same time, we're also going, thank you, please, sir. I would like some more. Because
Yes.
Big Finish has announced that we are getting audio adventures for The Fugitive Doctor, played by Joe Martin. Apparently, that is officially what her doctor is being called. The Fugitive Doctor. And then Sacha Dhawan's master is getting his own Big Finish.
Yes, please.
Yes.
They've given Big Finish to all the other folks who've played the Master, so why not?
Yep. So
Exactly.
Joe Martin's is going to have 6 full cast audio dramas going to be released across 2 box sets. That's all we know. They're keeping tight-lipped about it. And then and they're just calling that The Fugitive Doctor. And then Sacha Dhawan's, it's going to be called Call Me Master. Which, with his particular iteration of the Master, that could just be taken a number of ways.
Exactly.
Fan fiction writers, you know who you are.
Oh my.
Yep.
Yeah. And he is also getting 6 new adventures. So, which will be interesting. There'll be 2 volumes of that, 3-disc. There will be a 3-disc collector's edition box set or downloads. So, but both of those are available for pre-order on the Big Finish website. So if you need something to tide you over until Doctor Who comes back, although I'm
Sometime
guessing
in the fall.
yeah, which is, although there's no release date for these either, so I guess it's going to be a sprint to what gets released first, this new 13th Doctor era Big Finish or Jodie Whittaker's Regeneration.
Would they start it on the same day? Would Big
I
Finish
mean,
do that?
yeah, I mean, when and where Joe Martin's Doctor may pop up again on TV is anybody's guess. If you've seen the quote unquote teaser trailer for Jodie's final episode, we know Sacha Dhawan's in it. So we know at least his master's coming back for this regeneration. Along with some other familiar faces, but we'll talk about that when we talk about the Sea Devils episode. Coming very soon to a near hole near you. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know, because I don't know what they're doing continuity wise. So, and the thing with Big Finish is they're very good about squeezing in stuff in the timeline. So, but yeah, So I saw that Big Finish announcement, and I'm like, ooh. Especially Sacha Dhawan's like, oh, that's gonna be fun.
Like all the other master ones. This is gonna
Yes.
be good.
Yep. So at this point, all of the living incarnations of the master are all now in Big Finish. So this is cool. That's really it for news. So almost the month is almost over. So you want to get in on the book club conversation for this month? Not that you can't after the month ends, but
Right.
if you don't want to have to backtrack.
Yep. And also vote in the poll.
Yep.
There was a tie, so new poll comes up in May.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
So,
Never
or you can
mind.
stare at Goodreads until the new poll is posted.
Yes.
Go join the discussion for this month to tide you over until the new poll goes up.
Yes.
Mhm.
All right. So moving on to feedback. No surprise here. We have feedback from Shalane. Just like I said, the episode went live within hours. We were getting an email from Shalane.
If it's a musical, yep,
Yep.
which is fine. That's great. I'm not complaining. It's just like, called it.
Yep.
But we all called it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So starting with the Thor: Love and Thunder and Stranger Things trailer, she said were awesome. She says she's watched them thousands of times. Girl, you got a lot of free time. She says for Thor: Love and Thunder, it is awesome we get Natalie Portman back, and Thor is getting his muscle and abs back. We know where her priorities lie.
She has good priorities.
Yes.
I'll eat the eye candy.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. That was one thing that was one criticism I had of Endgame. Is like, why is Thor fat? Why did they turn him into a beer drinking schlub? I'm like,
Depression. It's called depression.
Well, yes.
I speak from experience, unfortunately. Anyway, this isn't therapy hour.
Yes.
I pay someone for that. She says for Stranger Things season 4, I'm getting an aliens feeling this season, which may be
that
aliens
was
alien references.
Yeah, that was the pinnacle of the Alien franchise. So
And then she said, going back to the Avengers, did we know that there is a shawarma Funko set?
it wouldn't
I
surprise
did
me.
not know that.
I didn't, but that doesn't really surprise me.
Not that I need any Funko, but I kind of want that.
Yeah.
Like, not that I have any room to display any ones I already own, but
Yeah.
oh, I know, still in boxes.
Yeah. She says, thank you for doing more musicals. She says last year there were a lot of places that did Annie. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Is it Tuacahn? Hold on.
Tuacahn? Yeah.
Let me pull
That's
that
what it
up.
looks like.
Yeah,
Tuacahn.
Tuacahn.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, she actually did spell it right. It's a tricky one, but yeah, it's like it was one I mentioned last week. It's the southern Utah, St. George is like the major city down there. They have this big outdoor amphitheater, and so like this is so the weather down in St. George, it's basically like Arizona. So winter is not so bad as it is up here in the northern part of the state. So it's kind of a vacation spot, if you will, or where people go to retire. Anyway, that's so so the summer is unbearably hot, but in the evening it's actually really nice, and they don't have a lot of mosquitoes, I don't think, as I understand it. I've been down there, just not recently.
I like the sound of that. No mosquitoes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right?
But apparently they
That's
did Annie
lovely.
last year.
Okay, yeah, that's what I had thought.
Yeah, and then her high school has done Annie, but not when she was in high school. They did Annie Get Your Gun when she was in high school,
Yes.
which is a good musical too. Very funny.
Yes. It was wonderful. I went and saw it when she was in it, and I'm like, I love this show.
Yeah.
Actually, I've seen that one several times, just at different places. And
Totally different than
yes, totally
Yes.
different, but still fun.
Very entertaining.
Hmm.
Yep. If you know the song "Anything You Can Do,"
That's
Mhm.
the one.
that's where that's from.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mhm.
And she says she remembers watching Annie when she was about 5 or 6 years old. And then she's also seen the Carol Burnett and Tim Curry version. I think she was talking about the Disney version. So,
Yeah, there've been several versions.
yeah.
Mhm.
And she says she has a friend she went to college with, and his mom was one of the orphans in
Oh,
the
cool.
82 movie.
Huh.
And then she gives us a list of more musicals we should talk about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Guys and Dolls.
Several we've already covered on Gold Standard, like Sound of Music, West Side Story, My Fair Lady, and Oliver. So
Yeah. I was just looking at her list, and Guys and Dolls is one that wasn't the first one I saw at our community dinner theater when I was a kid, but
Yeah.
it was one of the first, and that was one I really enjoyed.
the only version of Guys and Dolls I've seen is the version with Marlon Brando.
Oh boy. Interesting.
He's not bad.
I'm assuming pre-Godfather, right?
Oh yes. This is way before Godfather. But still, he's not bad. You know,
Well, that's good.
it's kind of in the same vein of, like James Cagney. He won his only Academy Award in a musical, so
Mhm.
it's just one of those things that you do. You play gangsters most of your life, but then every now and then they pop you in a musical.
Mhm.
Show you a little bit of your range, as it were.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then apparently Tuacan is doing Mary Poppins this year, which
Yes,
Ooh,
awesome.
nice.
I love me some Mary Poppins.
We did, yeah. We had some family stuff this weekend, and so we were driving back up and up on the freeway, and then we're looking at all the billboards and stuff, and there was one with Tuacan, and it was Joseph the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, Mary Poppins, and now there was a third one, and now I am totally blanking on it. She's gonna write in and be like, "It was blah blah blah," or I'll remember it at some random point. But I was like, "Oh wow, that's what they're doing this year." Because I've never been to Tuacan personally, but Shalane and my mom and my sisters go every once in a while. My aunt and they all go down there, so I haven't been. But she always is talking about they're doing this, and this, and she's actually working down there this summer. In the thing, so which is awesome for her, so yay. But now I'm like feeling dumb and totally blanking on the other one.
Doing Mary Poppins, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and Wonderland. Whatever that is. I'm assuming some version of Alice in Wonderland.
Possibly. Maybe that's why I couldn't remember.
It says what it says on the ticketing. So, but that's only through like July, so maybe a little later into the year, maybe we'll do something else. So
that could be. Yeah, it looks like an Alice in Wonderland. Oh, it was the Buddy Holly one. That was the one the Buddy Holly story. Now I'm looking at this.
Yeah,
that's I haven't seen the play version, but I've seen the movie version that Gary Busey was in, and that was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like, I guess they do have an indoor venue. So that one, the Buddy Holly one's going to be the indoor venue. And then apparently they're doing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like a version of the Rankin and Bass one with those songs.
Oh,
like, that's
interesting.
That's what the picture is. I'm like, I didn't know you could do that.
No.
Because it's Hermie and Rudolph.
The stop animation one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like
with Cornelius.
Cornelius. It says all your favorite characters, including Santa, Mrs. Claus, Hermie the Elf, Bumble, the Abominable Snow Monster, Clarice, Yukon, Cornelius, and of course Rudolph. That one starts November 25th, goes till December 22nd.
I see.
Dang, if I get some time, I'm like, Jared, we need to go to that one because that one would be so much fun.
Lottie and Alex would just go gaga, I think.
Oh, I think so. Although we're tangent, we're gonna take Alex to his first movie in May when our drive-in opens. We're gonna go see Sonic 2. And because we were debating, like, do we go take him to it? Because we've never been able to take him to a movie. It's like, do we take him to like the indoor one, or do we go to the drive-in? Like, I kind of want to do the drive-in with them, only because I love drive-ins.
Well, yeah, those are fun, and then you can always like leave, literally, you're already in your seat, and your seat can drive away. If you have an issue.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and that's how my parents started me. Is drive-ins were a thing when we still had some. So it was drive-ins, and then gradually it went to theater.
Yep. So there was, when I was growing up, there was one. Well, it's still there, just like across the street from my grandparents lived. So we went to the drive-in all the time, and as I got older, and drive-ins weren't as prevalent, but there's still one in the Salt Lake Valley, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna take him to that one. So anyway, the whole tangent of that was gotta see how Alex will do going to see movies, and then we'll see if he'll be able to go see a play.
Yep.
We'll get there.
Yep.
If it's something he likes, he'll sit and just be enthralled.
Yeah.
If he's bored, he has no problem getting up and wandering around.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't really do that in a theater.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, very cool.
Yes.
Well, if you find yourself in the southern Utah area this summer.
Yeah, check out to a con. I like I said, I haven't been personally, but I've heard a lot of really good things about it. So if you're ever coming out here for like the national parks or whatever, go see a play.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Shalane. All right, moving on to this week's main topic, which after almost 4 years, because it was November of 2018, we are finally have returned to the Wizarding World with Fantastic Beasts, the Secrets of Dumbledore. I want to call it the Lies of Dumbledore, but
well, the certain points of view of Dumbledore.
Well, and the thing is, though, is the title itself is, I don't want to say a misdirect, because it is telling us the truth that we are learning about Secrets of Dumbledore, just not the Dumbledore that you're thinking of.
Yep.
Yes.
Is the thing. It's kind of like the name of the Doctor.
Right.
When people are like, oh my God, we're going to find out the name of the Doctor. And it's like, no, it's just this episode is important because of the Doctor's name, but you're not actually going to learn it. So, but you hear the name Dumbledore, everybody immediately thinks the headmaster of Hogwarts. And people, I think, tend to forget, and I think they were using that to their advantage, that Albus Dumbledore has a brother.
Yes.
And a sister. Granted, Ariana is dead, but still, Dumbledore is not an only child. So so it was one of those things where it was like, I was like, I see what you did here with that title.
Yep.
Very smart.
Or to paraphrase the first Highlander of the series show, the Cloud, same clan, different vintage. For different age group.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of the actual story here, because heaven knows there is stuff to talk about.
Yes.
Obviously, we're not going to get into the weeds really here with the issues surrounding the wizarding world as a whole. Because especially over the last few years, anything Harry Potter and Harry Potter related, there, i.e. the wizarding world that was created by J.K. Rowling, immediate for the most part, it doesn't have the best aura around it, I guess.
Well,
and I don't think that's a word I want to use, but that's the best I can think of.
It's not like Warner Brothers has covered themselves in glory either with
that
some of their decisions, which we are, and like we said, we're not going to talk about it, but I'm just going to allude to, we are finding out just how bad they screwed the pooch in some of these things with a certain highly publicized trial going on right now, but that's neither here nor there. Like, there are no good guys in this. Let's just say that.
There's a lot of bad actors, and I don't mean that in like the actor, although some actors are involved with some of these bad things, but you know what I mean,
right?
There's bad things. So the wizarding world as a whole is kind of tainted.
Yes.
And
it's limping, it's wounded.
Yes. And
it was already to an extent before. They just kind of certain people just kind of poured gasoline on the fire.
Yes.
And then something else lit the fuse, and
so
most of us just kind of sat back and munched popcorn because we're just kind of like, and we're not gonna really get into it, but I don't think any of our listeners are gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe that you went and saw this movie and put more money, gave Warner Brothers and all these people, some of your more also J.K. Rowling has FU money, so
exactly
it really doesn't matter.
In my opinion, the Wizarding World is so much bigger than her. It's kind of like Star Wars, where George Lucas created it, but it is so much bigger than him, and he's
making money off of it.
And he's, even with, he walked away with a big fat check from Disney, but he's still going to, residuals. He's going to be living off of those for the rest of his life. He's got so much money that the, wherever you live, whatever movie ticket costs, your $10-20. I'm sorry if you live someplace where your movie tickets cost $20, but it is what it is. Whatever you paid for your movie ticket, in my opinion, the $10, $12 that I spent is not going to make a lick of difference to J.K. Rowling's bank account.
And honestly, I'm gonna say this. I will say this: if there are people who are gonna give us crap for talking about this movie, talking about this thing, it ain't your money and it ain't your choice. And if you really have a problem with it, you can skip this episode, and it's totally fine. We'll see you in the next one.
Yep. So these are one of those things where yes, a single person helped create, essentially germinated the original seed, but to what it's grown to is beyond her. It's the directors from the movies. It's all the costumes.
It is still her creation. She's still her contracts are pretty ironclad, in perpetuity, which is why you have a Harry Potter theme park in Universal. Yeah. Even though Universal isn't who distributed the who made the movies.
Yeah.
So she's
Warner Brothers doesn't have a theme park yet.
Well, that too. that too. But Disney can't do it because Universal has the theme park rights. But Universal can't distribute the movies because that's with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
it's all very funny, all these distribution rights and licensing and all that other.
Yes.
Yep.
It is very complicated.
It's just I will say
I'm not a lawyer.
It is funny to kind of watch. I mean, I've just kind of stayed out of the drama. It is funny to watch all these people froth at the mouth and freak out like it's the end of the world, and I'm just kind of like, you guys made her what she is.
Yeah.
So you made your bed, you better go sleep in it.
Yeah. And like you said, she's got FU money, so
yes,
at the end of the day, she's going to be filthy rich no matter what. So there's I'm just in the mindset that I don't, she's whatever, but I like Eddie Redmayne and the cast, and the guy that helped write the screenplay for this also wrote most of the Harry Potter screenplays. So it's there's a lot of people that I still want to support, and the world itself, like I said, it's just so much bigger than her, and I know for a lot of people that it's the world that is what means something to them, and that's the case for me. I see Hogwarts and I'm like, I'm not thinking about who created it. I'm just like, yay, Hogwarts,
exactly.
So that's my 2 cents. And then the whole Johnny Depp thing is very unfortunate, especially now with the trial going on and things coming to light.
I have opinions about that, which I am not going to air right here, but
we will hold on to those because Johnny Depp is in the names in the hat, so eventually he will get pulled.
I'm just gonna say I was on Johnny Depp's side before it was cool.
Same.
Yep.
I didn't make a big deal about it, but because there was no reason to. But at the same time, it's kind of like I'm sitting there going like, "Told you so, told you so, told you so." Oh, I told you about that one too.
Yeah.
So Twitter,
TLDR, men can be victims of abuse too. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, exactly.
So Twitter, the internet, Tumblr, whoever, you all can go suck it.
Yep.
Am I being too snarky with this episode?
No, because there's just a lot.
The snark is justifiable, Christy. The snark is justifiable.
There's just it's a thing.
I've got a little bit of rage going on about certain things, and some of it dovetails into this topic. And like I said, I'm not gonna belabor the point, and we're gonna talk about happier things. But people are gonna say, "Oh, you're talking about this? How dare you?" And I'm like, "Go pound sand." Yeah,
it's our show. We can talk about what we want.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
You want to voice your opinion? Go start your own podcast.
Please do. And those of you who are still with us, welcome. Let's
Thank
have
you.
some fun.
Yes. And then Ezra Miller, I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That is ongoing.
Sorry, I just have to laugh when I hear
twice
that
in
name.
the same
Let's
spot.
just say, but let's just say we get into the actual plot of the movie here. The way the movie ended, I think Warner Brothers set themselves up in a way that they can just cut ties with the character right there and just move on. So
the way that's going, like,
now he's still on the hook for the Flash movie, but that's their problem, and I'm not concerned about that. So
well, and there are some shakeups at Warner Brothers right now, so there may not be another Flash movie. So which is another thing. I'm like, grab your popcorn, y'all.
Really.
Yes.
As our good friend Charles Skaggs says, # not my Flash.
Exactly. Yes. 100%.
That version of Flash runs funny. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Nobody runs that way.
Nope. Give me the CW Flash any day of the week.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh my. So anyway,
this is so funny.
Fantastic Beasts.
We're
There
back.
were
We're back
some
to
beasts in this
We're back.
one, so yay
Yes.
for that.
Beast.
Quick recap, because it has been a while since this franchise started, all the way back in 2016. God, that seems forever ago.
It does.
So
it hasn't.
Fantastic Beasts, the sort of adventures of Newt Scamander. He was the focal point in the first movie. It's kind of strayed since then, but
the
It's
series
more
is
like-
interesting.
it's more like
Yeah.
this is Dumbledore's world, and Newt Scamander just stumbles into it and gets
Yeah.
involved whether he wants to or not.
Mhm.
See, this is the thing with this whole series. Like,
and
we had the Fantastic Beasts movie, and we're like, oh, Newt Scamander, okay, interesting. He was, a throwaway name in the Harry Potter books, and they're like, oh, we're
Yeah.
gonna build a whole
It's like,
adventure
oh,
around
Luna
it.
marries his grandson.
Yeah, and they're like, okay,
Or
well,
great-grandson or
we'll
whatever.
follow around and see how this guy what happens with him, and it was a good little story. And then all of a sudden they're like, no, we're gonna do Dumbledore and Grindelwald. It's like, and it is
Okay.
Fantastic Beasts, and Newt just kind of has to be in here, and it's like, okay, why didn't you just start with that and make Fantastic Beasts its own thing?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But money, dear boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And Newt Scamander is basically the Frodo Baggins trying to track down said ring.
Pretty much.
yeah.
In a way.
It's like Bilbo
To
just
mix-
wants to
to
sit
mix
at home
and
and
fandoms here.
smoke his pipe and eat some food and just be left alone.
Mhm.
And then a wizard shows up at his doorstep saying, hey, I got a job for you.
I sense one of those side-by-side comparison memes coming.
Yes.
Very much is. It very much is.
I mean, it's not like Harry Potter
Please
and Lord of
and
the
thank
Rings
you.
got compared too much back in the day.
yeah.
Like,
A
oh my
smart ass
gosh.
wizard with a really cool beard shows up at his doorstep.
Yep.
Although I want to know, when did Dumbledore stop wearing those sharp-looking, suits and
He went
waistcoats
from being hot Dumbledore to more
To-
eccentric
to-
wizard Dumbledore.
to 420 Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or the harried or the absent-minded college professor Dumbledore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I brought up 420.
Well,
Exactly, yeah.
It's still going to be a while, because when we see older Dumbledore, Michael Gambon Dumbledore, in the flashbacks where he first meets Tom Riddle, he's wearing like a suit with like a waistcoat and a sensible scarf around his neck and stuff. So it has to be, I don't know, but like something about when Voldemort comes to power, he decides to have a wardrobe change. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe he's like, I'm tired of looking like doing the sharp dress man thing. I'm gonna be crazy hippie robe.
Yeah.
Dumbledore now. And
He's
it's
like, I look like an accountant. What, do I work at Gringotts? No, I'm headmaster.
But you were
Hogwarts.
But you
Dagnabbit.
were Jude Law. Come on.
I know, and he
Mhm.
is hot Dumbledore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is Dumbledore's world, and just Newt gets into trouble.
Yeah. But
More
he's,
than
he's,
anything.
he's borrowing the title of Newt's book to
Yeah.
publicize his stuff, his adventures.
Yeah. Granted, when Eddie Redmayne is on screen as Newt Scamander, he is fantastic.
Oh, of
Is,
course.
honestly.
Yeah.
He is the, I can't imagine anyone else playing Newt.
Yeah.
He's so good, and he embodies what you imagine someone whose obsession with magical animals
Mm-hmm.
is so strong that
It's
this,
It's like let's have him let's see him research and explore and and see these magical, fantastic beasts, all these things that he writes about in the book, because he's so much fun. And no, we gotta go save the wizarding world again.
Yeah. Instead, we have to get Dumbledore's 11, I guess. In a way.
Yeah.
Except Newt is not Danny Ocean, so
Right.
No, he really
it's
isn't.
like if it was Ocean's 11, but instead of Danny Ocean like being in charge and giving out the orders, they put Linus in charge instead. Which if you've seen the George Clooney Ocean's movies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But no, I love Eddie Redmayne, and he is absolutely fantastic. No pun intended. As Newt, and
it was great to see Jacob back and have a decent size role in this.
Yeah, getting Dan Folger back as Jacob Kowalski, and not. They give him the wand, I think, in part so that they could use him as a distraction for things. Because it's like, oh, he's a muggle. Like most everybody knows and realizes that he's a muggle just by looking at him. Because I'm sorry, I know I'm American, but I grew up with the word muggle, therefore he is a muggle, not a no-mage.
Right.
I think by most people, they look at it, they're like, oh yeah, he's a no-mage, he's a muggle. So if they see him with a wand, people are going to be like, wait a second, because the whole idea is that Grindelwald has the ability to see the future, but only in like little blips, and he's not able to see like the full picture. So it's not like Sybil Trelawney, who does like prophecies,
right?
And he's not a Legitimens either, which works out really well, because then Queenie's able to pull some wool over his eyes. But
let's just put it this way: Grindelwald gets this ability in the most Voldemort way possible.
Oh my god, yes. Oh, I thought I was like, that's just mean.
I mean, I'm just like, oh, please, no, look away.
Obviously, spoiler alert for this film. But yeah, he's Grindelwald is not. He's not a good guy, and not like in a Voldemort type way. He's his own type of evil. Like you got Voldemort, who's one kind of evil. You've got Umbridge, who is definitely a different type of evil, but still definitely evil. And then you got Grindelwald, who's his own type of evil. And Mads Mikkelsen, for having to come in and step up.
Awesome.
Because Johnny Depp literally did one day of filming before they asked him to leave.
Yeah.
Well, I say that, but really, they asked everybody to leave, because actually the day they started principal filming was the day that like the pandemic, like they were like, okay, we need to shut the world down.
Yeah.
Right.
So they really sent everybody home. And then once they realized that, they could finally go back, they were like, oh, Johnny, we don't need you. Sorry, you're not coming back.
Yeah. But I mean, I will say this for Mads Mikkelsen. He's actually been kind of classy about the whole thing, because he could have been just a total douchebag about, oh, yes, I came in because blah blah blah, all of this, but he's just kind of like, nah, I'm here, I'm doing this job, and this is what it is, and I'm not gonna say anything about anybody. So
I mean, he came, he come in, and obviously he's putting his own spin and interpretation, but it still fits the overall like ego that is Gellert Grindelwald that was established with not just Johnny Depp, but you got to remember that. Granted, we didn't know it well. I kind of figured out it was Grindelwald before he got unmasked, but Colin Farrell
Yeah.
played a disguised Grindelwald in the first movie. So and they don't even bother to like try to explain why Grindelwald suddenly looks different, although they still have him with the mismatched eyes, which they do with contacts. So they got that that kind of continuity going there. So it's just
kind
one of those
of
things where it's like, let's just not acknowledge it, kind of like when they changed
Rhodey.
Rhodey, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like, you know, Don Cheadle, and it's like, it's here, it's me, move on or whatever.
Deal with
Yeah,
it.
I'm glad when they do that. Like, I'm glad when they when they have to do cast changes for one reason or another, that when they don't make a big deal out of it. I like that.
Well,
like,
and then that
look.
means like you don't have to come up with some plot reason, and it always is so awkward and ham-fisted, and you're just kind of like,
right,
that was stupid. You didn't need to
basically
do that.
Grindelwald's Harry Potter's version of the Master. He has the ability to regenerate, change form.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, that of the things that they don't bother to explain in this movie, that's the one I have the least issue with.
Right?
Yeah,
that is the thing, though. That's my biggest gripe. We really get to the end of this movie, which is this is the of the three. This is the longest one so far. It's over 2 hours, and while they do answer some questions that we had after the last one, they left us with so many questions. So many loose ends, which
now, see, I wonder, because originally, you know, after the first Fantastic Beasts movie came out, they were saying, oh, there's going to be, you know, this is going to be a 5-movie series. And this is only the 3rd movie. So I mean, I'm sure, you know, the delays in filming and stuff, maybe like people's contracts, you know, ran out or whatever. So there could be some of that going on, but it's kind of like, but everyone's talking about like, oh, this is the end of the trilogy. I'm like, but wait, weren't there supposed to be 2 more movies? But you know, who knows? But
there's supposed to be, but a lot of it's gonna depend on, at the end of the day, money.
Yes, and it has not been making the money, and the new boss at Warner Brothers is like, I've heard people describe him as the two Bobs from Office Space. And I've never seen that movie, but then I looked up the clips and I'm like, oh, that's what you're doing. Okay. Like, you know, come in and brutally trim the fat from the company, which is funny, but
yeah. So
it may just be out of their hands.
It may be. I mean, as far as
I do hope we get
office,
2 more movies.
I mean, it supposedly is the 6th highest grossing movie this year so far. But granted, we still have a lot of year to go.
Yeah, and there hasn't been anything. What's been real big that's come out? Sonic 2?
Yeah. This is like the biggest movie to be released so far this year. Now we're getting Doctor Strange next week. Which, you know, hopefully will do well. And then we're getting Thor not long after that. So we're getting two Marvel movies really close
together.
Yeah. So there's still a chance that it could get surpassed really quickly.
Yeah, and where it's already sitting at, oh, this is the 6th, and it's like, really? It hasn't really had a lot of competition so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably, and you know, summer is always big, and you know, we're kind of getting out of the pandemic mindset. A lot of people are like, yeah, we're
going to the movie theater.
We're going to the movie theater. We're gonna do stuff. That whole thing, we're fine. So it's a bit iffy.
I would hope that if they could, I guess it depends on what they want to do, because the thing is, timeline wise, this is supposed to go up until the mid 40s. So, because we started in the late 20s with the first one, and now it's early 30s, and like Jacob's bakery is suffering because it's now the Great Depression, and obviously, and he's in New York, home of the stock market. So, Queenie ran off with Grindelwald, and his bakery is not doing well. So, what does he have going for him? Not a whole lot. So, when this crazy witch shows up at his bakery's doorstep, he's like, you know what, fine. First he's like, I don't want to get involved, and then he's like, you know what, let's go. So which is good. We're still supposed to cover like another decade's worth of the Dumbledore Grindelwald saga, because that's what this is the Fantastic Beasts who happen to end up on screen in these movies while Dumbledore and Grindelwald fight each other. Because the movie left with the blood oath being broken, which is good, because then Dumbledore and Grindelwald are actively able to fight each other. But it ends in a stalemate. Grindelwald gets away, and Grindelwald still has the Elder Wand. So I'm presuming when the history books talk about the fight between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, they're talking about the fight that gets Dumbledore the Elder Wand, not the fight that accidentally killed Ariana. So we still have that big knockdown, drag out fight to happen for Dumbledore to take control of the Elder Wand. Which for me is kind of like the big thing that I'm like, if we don't resolve anything else, we need that.
Yeah, and that's going to be the tricky part, is are we going to, and it's iffy right now.
Yeah,
because we may. I could be looking at the situation right now and just being very cynical, and I have reason to be, but who knows?
Queenie eventually defects. Not that she was really like diehard, like, yes, destroy, no matches. She was just like, she was just very disappointed that she and Jacob could not get married forever. So she and Jacob reconcile. They get married at the end of the movie, which is really, really cute. Especially because she keeps walking into the room where Jacob is in her wedding dress, and Jacob's like covering his eyes, like, oh god, it's really adorable. And Tina finally properly shows up. She's not in the movie at all.
There was like one little like good, like the pictures of her in Newt's
suitcase,
and then, like, we get, like,
she gets mentioned, and then we see her at
MACUSA.
And then she properly shows up for Jacob and Queenie's wedding, as she should, because she's the sister of the bride.
Oh yes.
And we finally get a nice little reunited between her and Newt, which those two are so cute together. And
what I don't get was, like, backtracking a little bit. Like, obviously Newt and Tina get together, and like they're already kind of simple. I felt like a little thing between Newt and that professor girl. Like, I felt like there was something potentially going on with that.
Oh, Eulalie?
Yes.
I don't think so. I think she liked teasing him.
Mutual appreciation.
She's a professor at Ilvermorny, so from one academic to another. But the look that she and Theseus gave each other when they first meet.
It is kind of nice though to see, like, people who are like, colleagues, friends, and everything doesn't have to be let's smooch.
Because it's pretty obvious that Bunty
has a little thing
assistant
for
has a bit of a crush on him, but she also knows that he's in
Yes.
love with Tina, so
Yes.
she's just gonna admire him from afar and support him on these crazy adventures. Yeah.
Now, question for all of you. Do you think Newt was practicing his best man speech, or do you think he was practicing a proposal to Tina outside when waiting for Tina?
I think it was the best man speech. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it could have been read either way.
I would not be surprised if Tina is not the one that proposes to Newt.
I could see that. I could most definitely
at some
see
point
that.
in the future. So
knowing how awkward they are, I can see them like trying to propose to each other at the same time.
That too.
And they're not even realizing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
And
would
the
be
Niffler's running
amazing.
off with the rings.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be awesome. It's like, I want that to happen.
It kind of like their conversation when he's talking about her eyes and they both come in, or like salamanders. So maybe it'll be something like that. Oh, those two, they're so cute together.
Those crazy kids.
Yeah. And it's like, your grandchild is gonna marry Luna Lovegood. I'm so sorry. She told that it's like the Luna just makes sense to marry into that family.
Yeah.
No offense to Theseus, but he may be the golden child. The war hero, the smooth, suave, sophisticated one. But no, Luna makes absolute sense knowing who her future husband's grandfather is.
Yeah.
I would I would love to be like a fly at those like holiday
Christmas
dinners.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is someone burning the turkey?
Yeah. Probably let Queenie and Jacob do all of the cooking for all family get together.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
That
Jacob
is true.
Jacob would be the one shooing everybody out of the kitchen. This is my area.
He would pay attention and he'd be like, "Get out of here! You're in my way."
Yep.
Oh. Unlike the Dumbledore family get-togethers, which really
boy.
Yeah.
Separate vacations, separate holidays.
It's like, no, we don't need to celebrate anything together. We're just fine.
Yeah.
You go spend your...
Yeah, and the thing is, like, when we're finally introduced to Aberforth properly in the Harry Potter series, it's like, and obviously we learn about how their sister Ariana was accidentally killed, and Dumbledore does, Albus does go into that when talking with Newt in this movie. It's like, Gellert and I were gonna run off together, but then we got into a fight and we pulled our wands, and the Aberforth came out and we didn't realize Ariana was there, and the spell went wonky, and next thing you know, she's dead. Which she was an obscurial, so she wouldn't have lived in theory past the age of 10 anyway. But still.
And
so,
maybe she would have.
Yeah.
I mean,
Credence did. Yeah.
And they are
related. Yeah. It may just be a Dumbledore thing, maybe.
I'm just thinking,
just
like,
really strong.
All the time, you'll hear diagnoses like in the real world of, this child has XYZ disease and they won't live to be an adult, and then 20-30 years later, here they are.
That's true.
I have my uncle, they said that he wouldn't be past his 20s, but he lived to be almost 50.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm sure similar things happen in the magic world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is like the portrait of Ariana that is in the Hogshead, she does not look like, she looks like she's older than 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I have like a replica of that from something a while ago, and like I looked at it, I'm like, she looks older than when she was supposed to be, if I
Yeah.
remember the story right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, something else that probably should be fleshed out.
Mhm.
If we get some more movies, just saying.
Yeah, and if they actually try to tell the story and not shove everything into one thing where you're sitting there going like, I don't know what just happened, and I
Mhm.
need like the
Mhm.
Cliff Notes version
Mm-hmm.
or someone to
Yeah.
explain it to me.
But
Because
I had just assumed that Aberforth was so grumpy, when Harry realizes that, oh, you're Aberforth, you're Dumbledore's brother, and he's just like, it's like I just assumed that Aberforth just had a chip on his shoulder because of what happened to Ariana, and
Mhm.
was just annoyed with the fact that he's like, oh, I'm here wiping dirty counters at the Hog's Head while my brother's living it up as headmaster up there in that big old castle.
and everyone thinks, okay, what was the line? Everyone thinks that the sun shines out of his every orifice.
Yeah, something like
that
that.
line is just like, yep, that's about what it is.
Yeah, which I mean, you can kind of, the brothers gonna be, even if they do care for each other, there's gonna be a little sibling rivalry, competitiveness, which I think is also between Theseus and Newt. Some of the videos I watched, people are like, oh, Theseus and Newt, they just seem to like, especially Newt really seems to hate his brother. And I'm like, no, I don't think he hates his brother. I think his brother just makes him very uncomfortable because Theseus is the cool one. And Newt knows that he's not as cool as his brother. He's awkward. He gets better. He gets along really well with animals, but not people. He doesn't get society and socializing. He's not a war hero like Theseus is. So, it's not that they hate each other. It's just a little sibling brotherly rivalry type.
Well,
thing.
and when you're siblings and like. You're not going to be exactly like your siblings. You're just not.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some families that may be true, but like, I mean,
unless you're
like
twins, maybe.
Well, even then, Jared is a twin, and his twin brother, like their personality is similar in some respects, but they are way different in a lot of other things. So it's kind of like, well, I mean, like I said, we had some family things over the weekend, so we finally, like, it's been a long time since all of my siblings and our kids have been together, and it's just like all 5 of us are just so different, and we just all have our own interests and our own things that we do, and when we were younger there was some competition and there was some whatever that you do. But it's kind of like, we get on each other's nerves every once in a while, but we're still family. I mean, now that we're all adults, we're just kind of like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like when we were kids, we were like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
My brother and I would literally fight with each other in our sleep.
Oh wow.
We would yell at each other from down the hall from each other's beds while fast asleep.
Okay, that's
according to my mother, at least. I don't remember any of it. But
that's kind of funny.
Yep. So yeah, I totally get it. So yeah, I just always assumed that was kind of the impetus behind Aberforth's grumpiness towards his brother, but they kind of they're kind of close. I mean, as close as you can be. They're still separated because Dumbledore's still teaching at Hogwarts and Aberforth is still working at the Hog's Head. But they seem kind of close. So again, something must happen for them to separate more to the point where they're like apparently just not acknowledging that the other exists by the time the events of Harry Potter occur. But but this is the secrets of Dumbledore. This is the big secret, but of not the Dumbledore you're thinking about. In this case, it's Aberforth's secret that Credence is his son. So Grindelwald was correct in saying that Credence is a Dumbledore, but Credence just assumed that he was a brother. That he was some lost Dumbledore brother that but no, it's actually that he is Aberforth's son. But
surprise.
Yeah, but the thing is Aberforth had a relationship with this girl. We don't know who the mother is at this point. Again, dangling thread that needs to be taken care of. That they met while living in Godric's Hollow, and she got pregnant, and presumably it was one of those out of wedlock scandalous type things, like, oh my goodness, she can't have a baby out of wedlock, so they sent her off somewhere, and eventually she ended up on that ship that Leta Lestrange ended up on with her brother, presumably to go to America. And because nobody knew that the babies were switched other than Leta, who's now dead, that we can assume that Aberforth was under the impression that his son was dead, that his child was dead, because the aunt who was on the ship with baby, because it was, so I guess it was supposed to be Credence's aunt that was traveling with the baby. So she survived the ship sinking, but she didn't know babies are switched, so the baby that she saw drown, she just assumed was Aberforth's baby, so if any word got sent back, they'd be like, oh, the baby died. So Credence can't barely be like, why didn't you come looking for me? Because everybody thought he was dead, because nobody knew that the babies had been switched. So that's not really Aberforth's fault, for Credence to have this chip on his shoulder. I mean, I get it. It still sucks thinking, like, oh, I must have a family out there and they don't want me. That really sucks. But at the same time, it's like, he didn't know.
Yeah.
Nobody knew until Leta told, build this big secret in the second movie. So but now Credence, his obscurial is reached kind of its breaking point by the end of this movie, and he's gonna die. He should have died ages and ages ago. So we can, like I said, because of that, they can just kind of kill Credence off screen, I think, and then kind of be done with Ezra Miller and not have to worry about that anymore.
I actually thought that they were going to kill him. They were going to actually kill him off in this movie. It was like when Grindelwald was about to hit, I forgot who he was aiming at. Maybe Santos?
He was a man out to save his own hide there at the end. So
yeah, but I think he was like aiming at someone, and then I thought Credence was gonna jump in front, but that was when Dumbledore shot to block and how that broke the blood.
Yeah, because the blood oath is that they can't move against each other. But I guess if Grindelwald was to move against one of Albus's family members and he stepped up to defend, that negates it, I guess.
It's very convoluted.
Like it is.
They said like,
and even in the movie, Albus is all like, I don't really know exactly why it broke. I can just guess. So there's some things even Albus Dumbledore doesn't know, apparently.
Don't get me started on what Albus Dumbledore shouldn't and doesn't know.
Yeah.
Well, lots of things he does know that nobody else does.
True.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the TikTok? I'll have to find it and see if I can link it. There's a gal that she does an amazing McGonagall voice, and she has a TikTok where it's point of view and it's McGonagall looking down into Albus's coffin.
Oh, is she the one that did the one with
she's just
the
giving
snake?
him what for?
Okay, I need to find this one because if it's the same one, I think
probably.
The one
yeah, she's got one. Yeah, she's got one for Snape too.
Yeah, one for Snape's funeral. I actually saw it was a short on YouTube, and I was just dying laughing because it was just so funny. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're amazing, lady.
Yeah, she gets it.
And
she gets it.
And it was nice to see a young version of McGonagall in this movie too.
Yeah,
I love McGonagall.
I love the fact that it's established in the wizarding world that witches and wizards have a longer lifespan, and therefore we can have in this, Dumbledore is about 50 years old, which Jude Law is 49, so that works out really well. And have a young McGonagall, and you're like, yeah, totally. By the time we get to Harry Potter in 60 years in universe, because the events of Harry Potter take place in like the 90s, really. So in 60-ish years, yeah, she could totally be Maggie Smith in 60 years. So, still working on how Jude Law ages into Michael Gambon in 60 years, but whatever.
Yeah.
I guess,
at least we got McGonagall because when Dumbledore is kind of a shady, what, but I see McGonagall, I'm like, oh, all is right with the world.
Yes. McGonagall's at Hogwarts. We're fine. Yeah.
I like to think like she was knocking at the door and Aberforth was like calling her like an idiot or something, or whatever he said, and like he apologized to her. Like, yeah, that sounds not right.
Oh yeah, when she's knocking on the door at the Hog's Head. Like, you could have just yelled Minerva and be like, it's Minerva, you daft idiot, open up the dang door. But yeah. So, and then I don't even know how to even begin to unravel the whole political stuff going on here. Like, I get it, kind of showing kind of parallels, because this is the early 30s. They go to Berlin. Granted, they stay in the wizarding part of it, so they have to go through a wall, kind of like you do to go to Diagon Alley, or you go through that one statue to get to Wizarding Paris. But in Germany in the 30s, there was some stuff going down in the No-Maj world.
A little bit.
So having a character like Grindelwald come in and throw himself into the political realm, because apparently it's an election year for Supreme Mugwump, which I don't think they ever really said that that's what these people were running for. I don't know if they ever actually used the term Supreme Mugwump.
It feels like I feels like that they lost a few details in the edits. It's like there's a deleted scene somewhere that it's like, oh, this would have explained it better, but it got cut and
Yeah.
they never
Oh yeah,
really.
there was definitely a few times where I felt like that. I'm like, there was a scene right there, wasn't there?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, because there's the
What got edited for time?
yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like each of the countries that have magical communities have their governing body. So
Yeah.
like Makusa, we've got
Mhm.
the Ministry of Magic.
Then again, this is a Steve Clovis screenplay, and there were a lot of that. There's a lot of that in the Harry Potter proper series, and I'm like, wait a minute, you forgot to explain blah blah blah, and now you totally nothing makes sense.
That
So
is true.
I really shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, but this
Yeah.
time it's like you really feel it because you don't have the books to fall back on, like, oh wait, but that
Yeah.
happened in the book, so I'll just go look it up. This one doesn't have a book,
Mhm.
so the movie's all you've got.
Right.
The only
What
book we
get
have is the literal Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which is
Which
just Newt's
is-
guidebook.
It's a glorified
Right.
encyclopedia with Harry and Ron's doodles in the
Yes.
margins,
Right.
which is
Mhm.
awesome and like one of my favorite
Yes.
things.
The
So,
only
yeah, there's
source
not-
material we have is
I need to get a new
movie
one. I've
and
lost
no-
mine.
Ooh, they
Well,
have some really
because-
nice hardcover versions now. You should.
Yeah,
get
I'm
one.
gonna have to get a
Yes.
replacement.
Well,
I lost
Be
mine at some
careful
point.
because like the newer ones, like if you get the brand new ones, they don't have like Ron and Harry's little notes.
That is true, but I think the one they did for Comic Relief way back when, I think that one you can still get it.
I think
That's the
I'll
one.
go
But yeah,
on
there are like some
online.
nice ones that are like they don't have the commentary from Harry and Ron, but it's still.
Yeah.
And you get the audio version. It's Eddie Redmayne reading, and like I
Mhm.
swear when I'm listening to
I
that,
love it.
it's like you think it's Newt Scamander talking to you until
Yeah.
Yes.
he gets to like the Muggle parts, like reading like,
Mhm.
oh, this was for this charity. This was published by blah blah blah. It's like,
Mhm.
all right, he's actually an
And there's a
actor.
nice little mention of Wisconsin in the audiobook version with the updated
Aw.
guide. Yes. There's a mythical creature up in our Northwoods. I've seen the statue numerous times when heading up north.
Nice.
That is cool.
Hodag.
Yep. So yeah. So we've got and then there's the International Confederation of Wizards, which is kind of like the UN
Yeah.
for wizards, and the
Mhm.
Supreme Mugwump is the head of that, is essentially. And I guess the TLDR is they used to decide who the new Supreme Mugwump would be by using this creature called the Chillin, which the way it's spelled, you would not think that's how it's pronounced because it starts with a Q, but you call it the Chillin. It's kind of like this deer type Bambi looking
Yeah.
Yes.
animal. That
Cute
apparently-
as all
oh,
get
it was
out.
so cute. But it can look at someone and see into their soul and see if someone is pure of heart.
I was getting Moon Knight vibes a little bit. I'm like,
Yeah, a little
this is
bit.
it's like
Mhm.
animal version of that scale thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Except that, if it decides you're not, it does not immediately
you.
kill you. It just moves on to the next person.
Mhm.
But it used to be that they could take this creature, it would go be up to the candidates, and then it would decide and then bow in front of it, whoever it decides, and that's how they picked. But then the creatures are so rare that they haven't been able to get one, so they've had to resort to like proper voting, which we know that always works well. They can't even put
Mm.
names in the Goblet of Fire correctly, so
Right.
oh my
Voting,
God.
that's what those filthy muggles do.
Yeah.
No mash.
Yeah, really.
Mhm.
So, but it just so happens that Newt came across a mama quit chillin' who was getting ready to give birth, but he was followed by Credence and some of Grindelwald's minions, and they kidnapped the chillin', and they killed the mother, but it turns out that she'd had twins, so Newt's able to save the other one, and then Grindelwald does bad things with the children they got. So that when they do the vote, the one that he's essentially mesmerized will bow to him, because he's also gotten favor with the German minister of magic. I'm just gonna call him that. And has absolved Grindelwald of all charges, and therefore he is free to run in the election for Supreme Mugwump.
Well, ain't that just convenient?
He did like what Dumbledore said. He did what was easy, not what was right.
Yep. So, but thankfully, Newt, with his magical suitcase, which I totally knew that's where they were going the minute that she walked into that leather shop. It was like, I need 5 more of these.
Yeah.
And a lovely version of an extended 3-card Monty.
Yes.
To be proud.
Jacob was like, I get this game, you know.
Yes.
Like, it's a shell game. I get it.
Finally,
and Dumbledore's like, man, I'm impressed.
Yeah. But thankfully, Newt has the non-tainted Chillin and uses it to do the proper election. But at first, it bows to Dumbledore, Albus Dumbledore. You should specify.
And Dumbledore's like, no.
Even before it bowed, he's like, no.
It was like it was heading towards like no.
Which I mean, he does eventually become Supreme Mugwump down the line. He just doesn't want it right now. But the fact that this thing that supposedly looks into someone's soul and will only bow to those pure of heart, when we know the type of shit that Dumbledore is going to put Harry Potter through.
Yeah,
exactly.
Press X to doubt.
Yes.
Like, are you looking at the same wizard, little dear creature friends?
Yes.
Really?
Just because he rescued you doesn't mean you have to hero worship.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it's.
What they should have done, and I agree, and some people said these in the comments of the videos I watched, they should have had it bow to Jacob.
I was exactly what was going to happen.
Yes.
They implied earlier.
Yeah.
Because like Dumbledore doesn't need his ego stroked any more than it already is.
That too. But it would also show the wizarding
Jacob
world that no mages and muggles aren't that bad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Jacob is an adorable cinnamon roll who is not seeking for power.
Exactly.
And he would totally it would be an awesome leader.
Yeah. Well, even he still could have turned it down like Dumbledore did.
Right.
And just be like, I appreciate the vote of confidence, but this is not the gig I want. I just want to go bake donuts.
That's exactly what he would say too, honestly.
He would.
I mean, there's that, there's a quote by Douglas Adams, but other people have made the point that, the people who seek power are the ones who absolutely should not be the ones to have it. On the flip side, the people who don't want the power should be the ones to wield it, because they will set it down when the time is right. And it's kind of like, you think about the way we choose leadership in government now. It's always the people who, with very rare exceptions, which I would be hard pressed to think of any right now, that it's always the people who want power, and then they want it for their own ends. They don't want it because they want to serve. They want it because they want to run things and get money and be, hero worshipped or whatever else, have control of things. And it's like, okay, I like this idea you have. It needs to be a little more fleshed out, and dang, I wish we had
better
something
executed.
like that. Yeah, better executed in the story. But I like where the idea is going. It's just yeah, it's like, and it needs to be more polished, and it needs to be more real in our world, because
Right?
anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But
But
anyway,
it's a good point though, and that's and they completely miss that.
yes, exactly. It's just kind of like, you wanted to make a statement. It's like that would have been the one to do, but no, we gotta kiss Dumbledore's ass some more. And I used to really love Dumbledore as a character, and then Deathly Hallows happened, and I'm just like, the gloss is off.
I mean, I'm not like totally.
Well, no, I'm not
like what is it, Bathilda Bagshot, you know,
right?
Where she's absolutely dragging him through the mud, making him seem like the worst person in the entire planet. Because obviously there are characters that are way worse, but it's just like.
But I think it was like, oh, like he's this, and you see him through Harry's eyes. He's this wonderful, awesome, amazing, all-powerful thing, and it's like, you're not who I thought you were, and it's like. There's a difference. I mean, there's kind of a difference between, oh, Dumbledore was my role model, and now he's now I see what he really is, and that so and so think of the worst person ever, Stalin, Hitler. They're just a piece of crap, and I burn in hell for eternity. So it's not like that. But it's just it hurts more because you liked him so much before, but then he turned out to be a no good, dirty, rotten so and so. Does that make sense?
Yep. It does. So.
Minerva McGonagall for all the things. That's all.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh.
He's the one really running the show at Hogwarts.
Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So, Credence is dying and will likely die off screen. And
every time you say Credence, I fill it in with Clearwater Revival.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not the only one, am I?
Yeah.
No, you're not. No.
Yeah. And Dumbledore's gonna spend the next 10 years ish doing who knows what until him and Grindelwald have their big fight and he gets the Elder Wand, and and Newt's gonna hopefully go on a proper date with Tina, and
right.
Jacob and Queenie are going to make lots and lots of baked goods and probably lots and lots of babies.
That baby would be so cute.
Yes.
And that's where we are with the Wizarding World at this point. It's
And
kind
the
of a hot
team up-
mess. It's kind of a mess, but I'm still kind of here for it, just because it's the world is just so big and fascinating, and not just the creatures, although they're a big chunk of it. I love the Niffler,
The team up of the Bulltruckle and Niffler, trying to help Newt get brother out.
Yeah.
Well, and then Newt trying to dance his way out.
Yeah, of the
with the
prison.
Scorpions. Yes. I was like, oh, this isn't gonna go well. This is not the drunken giraffe.
I mean, yeah, and it was kind of fun though, because it gives you an opportunity to show Newt being in his element.
Yes.
And Theseus being the one
way out
of his comfort level. So because Newt's all like, swivel your hips, and he's just like, I am swiveling my hips, and he's like, no, like me.
Yes, you're doing it wrong.
Yes. So yeah, I think that was a good opportunity just to show just how good of a magic zoologist Newt is and why he is the best at what he is. I mean, granted, he's the only one at this
I was gonna
point.
say, wasn't it the only one
He's kind of like Sherlock Holmes. He made the position up, but nobody questions him.
Yep.
Because he's
Yeah, I was
really
like,
good
I
at
was
it.
like, didn't he just kind of invent that?
Yes, he did. But he's really good at it. So,
Yep.
yeah. And
it was
to
nice.
have Theseus be off foot for a moment was fun to watch. So,
And far as the distractions and port keys go, it was kind of interesting to see the chomping beast magical creatures books make a
oh yes, Hagrid
reappearance.
Monster Book of Monsters.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
That's a nice little
fun.
Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, apparently Hagrid was not crazy with picking that book. It's been around for a while. So,
Yep.
someone thought it was a good idea years before Hagrid ever gave it out as assigned as a textbook. So
Yep.
yeah, there's always a fun little Easter eggs to stuff we recognize, and they show up to Hogwarts and the Quidditch game is going on, and there's students out on brooms, and you see the golden snitch, and apparently the Deluminator does way more than what we thought. Apparently Albus Dumbledore is also part Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
There's a mirror dimension in the wizarding world that Dumbledore knows how to access.
Yeah. Well, and that Deluminator is almost like a sonic screwdriver.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of becoming the sonic screwdriver. Dumbledore is turning into Doctor Strange and the Doctor.
Yes.
On top of being Gandalf and Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in this where it's like they just never stuff must have been cut.
Yeah.
What? And you just kind of at this point, until we get like a book that fleshes things out, or we get those other two movies, you just kind of have to be like, because magic.
Pretty much.
It's just how you gotta explain away things because of magic. And where did Nagini go?
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
She completely got dropped. Where did she go?
Maybe she's off on vacation.
I don't know.
Possibly.
Or maybe the whole Maledictus thing took over and she's a snake somewhere. She's a full-blown snake somewhere, just waiting until some crazy guy named Tom Riddle finds her and turns her into Horcrux.
It's like, my pet.
And she has a relation in the snake that Harry sees and releases from the zoo.
Yeah. She's gonna lay some eggs and they're gonna get picked up and they're gonna be taken to the London Zoo and they're gonna be hatched.
Great grand whatever.
Because magic.
Yep.
I really hope we at least get one more. We need at least one more.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the way they ended it, it's a good ending, but
if you don't know your lore, you could probably be fine with it. People will be like, oh, just Grindelwald, he got away, but he's not going to take over the Wizarding World because we kind of would have known about that. So the Wizarding World in theory is fine until Tom Riddle becomes Lord Voldemort years down the line. But if you know your Wizarding World history and your stories, they've never
done yet.
Well, they've never flat out said it, but every time Grindelwald pulls out his wand, you recognize that wand. It's the Elder Wand, and at some point, Dumbledore has to get his hands on it.
Yep.
So at this point, that's all I want. It's just like, dabbit, let's have that fight so that Dumbledore can beat him once and for all, get the Elder Wand, and let's move on. Bob's your uncle.
Yeah. Because I actually thought the
Ta-da.
original fight that broke the necklace in this one, I thought that was it. And they're like, okay, he's gonna get the Elder One, end of story.
And then they could have left it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they could have left it. He was like, oh, he doesn't have the Elder Wand anymore. So he may still be a powerful wizard, but without that wand, he's not nearly going to be powerful, enough. And Dumbledore's his only equal. And with the Elder Wand, that's going to make him even more powerful. So, but anyway. Oh, Wizarding World. I love you, but you're a hot mess. You need to get yourself together, girlfriend.
Yeah.
We love you, but we have a couple of concerns.
Yes.
A little bit, yeah. Well,
We need to have an intervention.
We will see we'll see how your new stepdaddy takes things into hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole Discovery Warner merger is just, it's a fascinating thing. I'm just I don't really have a dog in the fight. I'm just kind of looking at it like, this is going to be interesting. So we'll see what, if anything, comes of that, of those shakeups. So anyway, we might not be done. So anyway, well, anything else we want to talk about?
Nope, I'm gonna get off my soapbox now.
Okay. All right. Well, what you do with your money is your business. Just don't chew other people out for what they do with their money, because honestly, the way most people are, they'll just spend more money that way just out of spite, because that's where we are right now. So just it's a nickel's worth of free advice. Save your breath. Anyway, if any of our listeners want to comment on what they thought of the movie or anything else we talked about today, or Wizarding World, whatever, you want to chime in with your 2 cents, you can send us feedback. Our email address is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You also visit our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com. And just a heads up, we don't think there's going to be a problem, but we are doing a little bit of maintenance on the backside and rearranging the furniture, as it were. So if there are some hiccups in the next day or so, as we're recording this, it's Monday, that's probably what's going on. So don't panic. But we don't think there's going to be a problem, but I'm just letting y'all know if you come to our website, which is, again, the5girls.com. And there you can find links to our social media, to ways to support the channel, the podcast. Oh my gosh, I've been watching a lot of YouTube lately. We do have a YouTube channel, which a lot of our podcasts are up on that. But yeah, you can support us through Patreon, our Redbubble store, and things like that. So, and of course, thank you for listening. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being out there and being part of the Five-ish fam, as it were. And hope you enjoyed listening to some of our soapboxes today, because it's been fun.
It's been something.
It has been indeed. There's a lot of craziness going on.
Yeah.
Just hang on to your butts, people.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
That's kind of been my mantra the last couple of months. Really?
Yeah. I like it. It's a good motto.
Yes.
A good Samuel L. Jackson quote from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson has some wonderful lines. Not all are safe for work, but the few that are.
Yes.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, with that, we are going to sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Belvedere saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Well, one thing that they did carry over that I'm glad that they kept was when they were on the train and Jacob got himself a drink and giggled because it's
Yay.
giggle water. You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at the5ishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Five-ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.